Good job. Okay, so welcome to the call this morning. We do this every Monday morning at 0700. Had a little bit of technical difficulty this morning. Turned out it was on my end this morning. And I'll tell you what, I've had so much stuff working on the weekend, getting the new book launched, and just doing some amazing things with our first clients coming through and being able to save them, a significant amount of money on their mortgage. That's where I've been really focusing on the sideline business, I guess, my primary business. And the thing is being able to do this Rubicon program. Rubicon was created with an ethos that is Latin, and I'm going to attempt to pronounce the word here. It's AMNAT CURIAM. Okay? So that concept comes from an idea that goes back thousands of years. And it basically, let me see, hang on, we got some background noise here. Hang on, who's got some background noise? I'm just going to turn a couple of you off here just to make sure we don't have any background noise. Okay. So AMNAT CURIAM VICTORIAM, that ethos is focused on victory loves preparation. That basically means the idea, if you want to be victorious on anything you want to do, whether that is becoming a better parent, whether it's becoming a better partner, better spouse, better member of your community, better business person, you name it. The whole idea is about you have to be prepared ahead of time. You can't wait till you get to the event and then expect to be able to engage and have any level of success, because then you're doing what most people do. What do we call that? It's winging it, okay? Everybody decides just to show up and, oh, we'll just figure it out as we go along. And what happens to the event when you wing things? Usually it's horrible, okay? Sometimes you get accidental success, but it's accidental. If you go back and look at every organization, and I study a lot of military history, I came up in that environment, and one of the things that you will see about individuals that are in military service is they have a thing that I refer to as regimented routine. They do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And you're like, yeah, but that's boring. But what it produces is an ability that when you get in a difficult situation, they always tell you one thing, and that is you fall back on your training. Okay, so what does that mean to us? Well, our training is our planning, our preparation, our practicing to do what? To passionately perform. So when it's time for you to be able to perform and passionately perform, not just perform, okay? Because how many of you seen people that when they perform, or maybe you've been to those events where you just did the old rote routine and you just did it, and you did it because it was just demanded of you or required of you, or it was your obligation, and you know that your heart wasn't there, that your passion wasn't there, but you did it because there was some other obligation or requirement. And how do you think that came off to your audience, to those people that are around you? Did it come off as passion, or did it come off as, yeah, he just showed up here or she just showed up here and just did their obligation, okay? Does anybody want to join a team or be part of someone that just shows up to do what they're required to do? Who wants to be part of that? No, absolutely not. The key thing that people are signing up for is they want to be part of something, and something that's bigger than them. And when they're connecting to you because they're your audience and they're the ones that when you wrote your book, like I wrote mine, okay, and published mine, it's almost 3 years now. Individuals that want to connect with you because of your story, and your story is your performance. That's what all this is about. And so when you start connecting the dots, you say, Steve, why are you doing this Rubicon thing? Well, I created the Rubicon thing over the last 30 years. And I wrote the manual for my Rubicon training program up in 2015 and 2016 and trained thousands of individuals through the program. And now it's on my website, and it's there basically like a beacon. It's an ability for people to download the PDF and use the concept. And I'm going to start retraining it again and taking individuals through that here in the new year. But the point that the focus is it's all about performance. All of life is about performance, okay? And yes, this is maybe a belief system of mine, but when I look at it, people ask me, well, Steve, why do you think we were here? Why do you think the Creator put us here? And, we can look through a lot of the sacred text, the ancient type of scrolls and things, and look at the transliterations and try to figure out, well, what is our ultimate purpose and goal? And to me, it's to find out how we perform when things don't work our way. I don't know. That's my perspective, okay? Because here's why. How many times have you seen people perform when there is no pressure and there is nothing hanging in the you know, hanging at what I call in the threads. Okay. And do they do things right? Yes. Are they passionate? No, they just do their routine. Okay. And we see people perform like that. But guess what? It doesn't really tell you who they are inside. And I believe that the Creator is here to test and to find us, to find out who we are and what will stop us. The test of a person is what it takes to stop you. Those individuals, and let's use Matt Morris as an example, those individuals that achieve high levels of results, are they able to be stopped at very low levels of stress? Yes or no? No. They're able to go farther, okay? Francois, I know you work with a lot of active duty SEALs, okay? Navy SEALs. What is unique about those individuals? Why are they called up as the, what would you call the icon of extreme special forces? Why? It's
training
and the routine. But here's the thing, you know, when I started understanding, and I have some friends that are former active duty SEALs, I did not realize that after they go through BUDS, which is basic underwater demolition school, these guys trained together as a unit for 2.5 years before live mission number 1. Whoa. And you're like, well, wait a second. The normal guys that are going into infantry or other types of MOSs in the military, once they go through boot camp, then they go through AIT, which is advanced infantry training. And then they get, you know, their designation and they're off to wherever their post is. And that may include going to the front line and actually being able to fight and engage an enemy somewhere. And yet you see SEALs, they're 2.5 years of training. Why? It's because the level of performance that they're demanded is at such a high level that they're being inserted into some place that, guess what? They can't just call and get some help. They're out there by themselves. They have got to do a mission that requires no one to even know they were there. They got to go in, extract someone and get out. And there, it's called zero residual. No one even knew that they were there. They're just gone. Okay. How do you get that good? That's excessive. Not that I don't want to use that word because that sounds like it's too much. No, it's exceptional training. Okay. They train and train and train to a level of performance so that when they perform, if you've ever had a chance, if you ever want to see how Navy SEALs train, there's a great movie called Act of Valor. And the acting is about B-rated. It's not really good because the actors themselves are real live Navy SEALs. But if you want to see those guys really perform as a team together and see them move and how trained and how well organized and well coordinated they are, it's actually as if they can communicate telepathically. It's not telepathically. It's what happens when you train and prepare and plan and practice over and over and over and over again. You get this passionate level of performance that just looks so wow. Okay, it's that level. Now you don't want to go up and oppose those guys. Why? Because their training will outperform you. That's what I'm trying to give here. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a Navy SEAL. I'm saying, what is it in your life that you feel that the Creator called you to? What is it that is your mission? That is that thing that is created in your life, that has called you to it, that is demanding that you do something exceptional. And part of what we gather for every single week here on PTO, which is prepping the objective, is if you understand that the planning and the practice and the preparation to passionately perform, that's what I call P5. You say, Steve, well, how do I do that? I don't know what to do. What are my steps? And that's why I created this system, is what are the routines that people do from a mindset training, from a physical standpoint, from a diet standpoint, from a sleep standpoint, all those things that affect your physical fitness, because you have to be physically fit. I'm not talking about jumping jacks and push-ups. That's part of that. But your physical fitness includes everything that you stick in your mouth. It includes the quality of rest that you get every single night. It includes the way that you take care of yourself physically. And it also includes the mental preparation. Okay. The reason why I shared with you my PTO playlist is because these are individuals like Vishen Lakhiani or Dr. Joe Dispenza or Marissa Peer. Those are individuals that I have found over all of my time that come back and give me a routine that allows me to check the box, okay? The time that I spent with Marissa Peer this morning earlier doing my PTO before I'm here with you teaching you about the PTO, prepping the objective is about creating your self-talk, okay? And I do that with Marissa because she has the greatest routine of what I call an I am ritual. And maybe you've heard about this from other individuals like Tony Robbins and top performers like that. But how you talk to yourself is so important, okay? We have so much negative self-talk, 50,000 comments a day, and 80% of those are negative. That's what the statistics tell us. So how are you supposed to push back against the battle that's inside here? It's not out there. Your battle is here. This is what we're talking about. How do you have your best day, your best week, and your best life to be able to affect and change the world? Is you have to begin on this battleground that's right here, right in between your ears. It's that voice that you hear in the back of your mind, or maybe you don't listen to it, but it's there constantly telling you that you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you're not educated enough, you don't have enough money, you don't have enough success yet, blah, blah, blah. And it keeps telling you all these things about why you can't instead of why you can. So when I listen to Marissa Peer, one of the most valuable things that she teaches in her I am routine is that I am worthy. The biggest thing that pushes against us is we don't think we're worthy. We don't think we're worthy of the success, of the masterpiece that we dream about, that we want to reach in a year or 2 or 5 or 10, or maybe at the end of our life. And if we don't feel we're worthy, will we make the step to be prepared and perform? Yes or no? No, because we're the ones that are causing our own level of failure. Our own reason to not engage is because we don't believe we're even worthy of our own self-love. And that's what I love Marissa Peer for. The reason why I use Vishen Lakhiani, he's got about 4 or 5 different versions of a morning meditation. Some of them are as short as 13 minutes. The longest one is 21 minutes. I use those because it gives me a guideline. Could I do those on my own? Yes or no? Yes, I could, okay? But the reason why I use a guideline is just like reason you use a drill instructor or a drill sergeant or a master chief, is everybody shows up on the parade deck, everybody gets into formation, and then the senior non-com walks out there and he begins the morning PT routine. Why? Does every one of those guys know how to do PT on their own? Yes or no? Absolutely, okay? They're all highly trained, they're all regimented, but why don't you get to go practice on your own? Because you practice together better in a unit. It creates the cohesiveness. And that's why I wanted to create this call for every one of the authors. And I'm going to expand it here very shortly, where you will be able to invite other friends, other associates, peers in your group, where you will be able to say, hey, I go to this program every single Monday morning, and I got this guy out in Bend, Oregon. He shows up at 7 o'clock every week, and he gives us the insights and the concepts and the strategies and how to apply the strategies. Those are called tactics. Okay, so you get the big picture idea, that's called a strategy. And then you go, okay, Steve, how do I chop this down? What do I do now? What do I do today? And that's what we're going to talk about today. What are some of the ideas when you do prepping the objective? What are some of the things that you're doing? And we're going to talk about today how to paint your masterpiece, right? So painting your masterpiece is taking the canvas that the creator gave you. What do we call that canvas? It's called life. The creator gave us life. We experience it in this thing that we call reality, but we really don't know what reality is. Okay, I'm not going to get off into philosophical and quantum sciences and stuff, but this thing that we're experiencing that we call reality is our it's our opportunity to be on our stage of life. It's our performance ground. The creator is watching to see how we deal with the scenarios that the creator, I believe, puts into our life. Okay, so a lot of people have that idea that the creator doesn't give us more than what we were trained or what we're capable of dealing with. And I know when I've been in my worst situations over life, when I've been going through my difficult years, and I'm saying, creator, thank you for the compliment. Can you just stop? Okay, I've had enough. Haven't I proven myself already? And I know some of you have been to those same levels and you're like, my gosh, really, haven't I proven myself? Don't I have enough stripes and rockers over here? Don't I have enough medals on my chest, or whatever analogy that is to you that expression that I've accomplished and I've achieved that? Can I be done? Well, we don't get to choose that. We don't get to decide. So every time we get a new mission, every time we get a new opportunity to prove ourselves, we have to change our perspective and say, wow, I really thought I wanted to just dance around through life and have butterfly kittens and cotton balls. And I'm not getting a bunch of rainbows. What in the heck? Well, I don't know the answer to that. because I'm not the creator. All I know is that a few of us are chosen to do extraordinary things, and to do extraordinary things, that means EXTRA, extraordinary. Okay, if we had ordinary lives, then the creator would be telling us, guess what? You're ordinary, you're mediocre. I can't really lay some big things on you. I can't give you big challenges. I can't trust you like I would a Navy SEAL team to go do that mission that I can't be there to hold your hand up. So I'm going to send you on something that's really, really difficult. I'm going to send you on something that, you know what, you might even shake your fist at me like Job did in the Bible at God and said, you know, why did you do this? I trust you. You know, you're my God, but you have destroyed everything. You've taken everything from me. You even killed my children, and my wife has left me, and I've lost all my wealth and all my servants and all those kind of things. And he was sitting in the trash heap with a pot shard, a piece of pots, and he was raking his skin because he had leprosy. And he's like, really? Really? Why did you do this to me? Okay. That's the horrible, all the different trials you could have had. Okay. He had them all at one time within a very short period of time. That's the way the story goes. So we have our similar Job stories. And we can sit in the ash heap and we can cry and have self-pity and boohoo and all that. And guess what? Is that going to fix it? No. Is it going to change it? Absolutely not. Is it going to allow us to passionately perform better? No. So what do we have to do? We have to plan, we have to prepare, and we have to practice. Okay? Plan, prepare, practice to perform passionately. That's it. That's what I call P5. The beginning of all this, the planning, the preparation, the practice, all comes back down to the very most important thing that you do first thing in the morning when your boots hit the deck, okay? And you're like, I don't wear boots to bed, Steve, and I hope you don't either, okay? That's a joke because I grew up around a Marine, and that's what it called, boots on the deck when he kicked your rack, okay? When you get up in the morning, what do? Notice that you have a similar routine, but your routine is unconscious. You know, maybe you get up, you know, if you listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza, he talks about people waking up, they have their feet hanging out from underneath their bed. They take a picture of that. They post it on social media. They jump on there and like a bunch of other things that people have been doing. They get up, they go to the restroom, they brush their teeth. They go down, maybe get a cup of coffee, maybe get themselves a bowl of cereal, and they just start meandering through what? The day. Eventually they know, okay, I got to get a shower. Maybe I have to commute. Maybe I work remote now. I got to get to my office to answer my Zoom call, blah, blah, blah. And they have these things that they have to do. But how much preparation do they do to perform at an exceptional level? Zero. They are unconsciously incompetent. That's the base level of how 80% of our world functions, unconsciously incompetent. They're so unconscious of how incompetent they are, they go around blaming everybody else that they're the idiots and they're the morons and they're the reason why my life is so bad. And then what happens when you start working on becoming woke or aware, you move to level 2. And what happens at level 2? You become conscious incompetence. And conscious incompetence is you become aware of how incompetent not they are, but who this guy is, okay? Who we are. And when you get that aha, then you get what? You get some humility. Okay, it's not always about blaming everybody else. It's realizing that the reason why your life and your reality is not performing very well is how much have you planned, prepared, and practiced to passionately perform? Zero. What do you have to be upset about? Why are you blaming other people? You didn't do your regimen. You didn't do your routine. You didn't create the future in your masterpiece, in this canvas, this thing called life that you experience in this place called reality. You haven't done anything to get better performance. And you're crying. You're having this self-pity. Poor me. Okay? But we do that. I'm being a little facetious, but that's how we feel in life. Now, what would happen if we decided to start with the intensity of Navy SEAL team, or it's called a Ranger team, or Marine Recon team, or Air Force PJs, okay, or all the other British SAS. There's all these elite organized operations out there in the world. Let's say you don't like military. You say, Steve, I don't like that analogy. I don't like military. I don't agree with them. They offend me, whatever. Cool. Well, what if you were a top CEO? What if you were, I just saw her the other day. I added her to my screen and I shared her with you. She's a new billionaireess, sold her makeup company for $1.2 billion. She looks, her last name is Lima, I think. Wonderful individual. I met her on watching Tim Ballou's Impact Theory, okay? Amazing individual. Everybody told her she couldn't do it. She couldn't go into an industry that's so oversaturated, being in the makeup manufacturing industry, right? And she kept going and she wouldn't quit. And then she got onto what is the show where you sell all the stuff on there? Oh Jesus, I'm missing. Anyway, she got on television where they do all of the different sales. It's all the channels.
Shark Tank.
No, it's not Shark Tank. It's the other one that one of the Shark Tanks actually runs, where they market. That's it. Yes, right. So she got on there and succeeded. And her routine, I think I've mentioned this before on our program here, before she did her deal, she flew out, I think, into Los Angeles where they were going to film her. And she was going to have one 10-minute opportunity to sell her makeup kits. Okay. She went out there 5 days earlier. What did she do? She drove to the parking lot every day, first thing in the morning, to create a mental routine. And she went to the parking lot, sat in the parking lot. Francois, what did you say the name of the channel was?
QVC.
QVC, that's it. So she's sitting there in the parking lot, and what is she doing? She's mentally rehearsing the outcome of seeing on the screen sold out, okay? So she is going through a mental regimen of the outcome that she wants to own, that she wants to receive. She's painting the masterpiece before the time that she's actually getting on the channel. So think about that. This is someone that's produced $1.2 billion in a buyout in a makeup industry and a cosmetic industry that's oversaturated, that Revlon and all these other companies are juggernauts. How could you possibly imagine that you could start up from scratch? And everybody that she came to show her stuff to, what was amazing about her is they told her, not only do you have nothing that's unique, nothing that's that's exceptional, but you yourself are not a model. Okay, you don't weigh the right, you don't look right, you're not model content, you're not thin enough. No one would buy your makeup products because you don't look like what they want to become. That was their paradigm. She said, wait a second, I think there's a lot of ladies out there that want to have a cosmetics that will help them with who they are as they are, not some version of themselves that they're never going to become. So she went to a marketplace, to an audience that was her voice. And guess what? $1.2 billion, B with a billion, not million, M, B like billion, was her buyout after getting on QVC, winning, seeing the sold out, and then did such a great job of doing what? Planned, prepared, and practiced to passionately perform. What she communicated across the screen in those 10 minutes was her passion, her failures, where she had not done very well and couldn't find a product that helped her for who she looked like, for her skin tone, for her types, all those kind of things that she did. And what she did is she communicated and reached an audience of who? Millions that didn't want to buy from Revlon, that were looking for someone that was genuine and authentic and real and understood their problem and provided a solution for it. That's what we do, okay? Every day we get up, we get to help people with their problems. The reason why we wrote our stories is so that we could frame our most important advice into 2,000 words that would take you 5 minutes or less to explain how someone can go into their deepest, darkest moment of their life, make it through it, and come back better and stronger. Wow, what a gift, okay? That's what this is about, is compressing and distilling, because we get it so focused, okay? How do we serve other people? How do we help them with their problems? It's not about giving them a product or service or having them become a client. It's listening and understanding and being able to help them move maybe from that unconscious incompetence level and bump them up a level to conscious incompetence, to realize, stop blaming everybody else. You're not creating a positive forward movement. What you can do is realize that you need to work on you. We all need to work on ourselves. What do we start with? We start with creating a plan, practice, and preparation to what? Passionately perform. There's your 5. So you got to start with, what do you want to passionately perform about? What is it that you want to do? What are you here for? What can you help other people with? And all of this is going to go back to that very first thing in the morning that you do when you put your boots on the deck, okay? And when you do that, you're going to realize that you need a routine. You need to be regimented. You need to come up with a mental regimen that you do mental gymnastics every single day, maybe when you're having your coffee. It doesn't need to be an hour long like I do. because that's the kind of performance I want to do. So I prepare, and it takes me that long to go through my meditation, to go through seeing my future, painting my masterpiece, and then going into it. Like Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love how he says it, teach your body to feel the experience of the masterpiece. Teach your body to feel what it feels like to succeed. So what you're doing is you're using your mental gymnastics, your imagination. Your mind does not know the difference between the experience of reality right now, because how is your mind experiencing your current state of reality? Through the imagination, okay? All the things that we talk about in science, if you understand what your eyes are actually seeing, they're not seeing what you think they're seeing. Okay, and I don't want to go into too much detail right there, but everything, whether it's the eyes or the smell or the hearing, or all these things are interpretations of frequencies and sound waves and kaleidoscopes of different light bands. And it's when we interpret them through our eyes or our ears or our smells, or even our biggest organ of our body is our skin, it's our touch. Okay, when we touch it, all of this is coming through all of this array of sensors. That's where walking around organic sensors. And how we interpret our life has to do with what goes on in this head. So if you want to perform better, you've got to begin here first. Meditation. I'm not talking about necessarily sitting against a wall and chanting and doing Om. Not a problem with that. Great other version of meditation. If you follow the Vision program, he does a 6-phase meditation. I like his program because it's routine. It gives you a track to run on. If you want to deviate from that later, great. Deviate after you've created the habit. That's what regimented routine is. Create the habit, learn what to do, have the same timeline every single day that you do the same things, and watch what happens to your performance. It's going to skyrocket. Why? Because when you get into the ugly days that go crazy and chaos and things happen that you didn't expect, then you can do what? You can fall back on your training, because you have a regimen, you have routines, you know how to talk to yourself when you get into those bad places. I got into one the other day on Friday, went totally sideways, bad morning, everything was going wrong, okay? I knew that if I stayed in that state, that I was not gonna perform very well. So what did I do? Got in the car, drove 35 minutes north, and if you might have seen some of my videos on Facebook, I went to Smith Rock and climbed this thing called Misery Ridge. And you're like, Steve, wait a second, on a bad day, what did you do? You went and climbed, I think it was 2,800 feet or something like that. That's what Steve does for me, because I know that when I do something called embrace the suck and I achieve it and I overcome it, I'd never climbed that before. Okay, I never climbed that fast. And guess what? My legs were hurting so bad. When I got back in the car, they hurt to sit in the car, okay, on the drive back. That's how bad my legs ached. But I achieved something for me that was a new level. You got to do that for you. You've got to find what works for you. And how are you going to find it? You've got to create a regimen. You've got to create a habit. Okay. Does everybody understand how that works? Okay. That's what you're doing. Create that regimen. Use my PTO system until you find one that works for you. If you don't like Vision, you don't like Dr. Joe Dispenza, you don't like Marissa Peer, that's cool. It's not about that. Find what works for you. I'm giving you my track that I've spent decades working to find and create and craft, and it works for me. Matt doesn't use my system. Matt uses his own system, okay? But he does like Vision, so I know he uses his 6-phase meditation. So everybody's about tweaking your own system, but tweaking your own system comes with you following, someone that's like the drill instructor on the parade deck every single day. And when you get to where you do it so well that you're performing, practicing, and planning, and you're at that passionate level and people's lives are being changed, deviate when you're ready, okay? But get good at your routine, okay? Is that good? All right. All right. Anybody got any feedback from me? I got about 2 or 3 minutes here. Any questions that I can help you with, or any ahas, any breakthroughs this week that's happened by using a PTO and bringing those together that you've gone, wow, I didn't do that before. And I started doing that. And all of a sudden, boom, I got this aha. Okay. Nope. All right, cool. They will happen. That's part of the deal. It's where you fall back in your training. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Have an amazing week. And I'll talk to you next week. All right. Bye.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye. Thank you, Steve. Bye, everyone.